Ahead of the Malaysian Grand Prix, we have Dr. Fernando, who will just talk us through the grueling condition of the Malaysian Grand Prix, which not only affect the machinery but also the human component. So, how difficult is it for also even for a trained driver to face this kind of challenge?
Well, of course, Malaysia is an extreme condition. In Malaysia, we have incredible temperatures. We're running around like 40 degrees Celsius, and with a relative humidity of around like 70%. And that is, of course, very demanding on the athlete. Plus, they're in a cockpit. They don't have adequate ventilation. They also, of course, losing a lot of liquids because they sweat, and it's very difficult task for the athlete to be always in perfect conditions.
How about the cooling vest we've seen being tried out on some occasion in the past? Do they really have some benefit?
They have some studies which have shown that if you, in extreme heat, you start with a lower temperature, you can resist the stress for a longer period. So of course, you know, the cooler you are, the more you will be able to stand the heat. But it's only for a small amount of time.
And is there any way you can quantify this loss of liquid during a race with a
they lose approximately like about 4 liters of liquids during a race. That's more or less what they lose in a race like this.
Any way you can compare the kind of stress, physical stress that the driver is submitted to during the Grand Prix of this kind with any other kind of sports?
Well, being an extreme sport, I mean, it's very difficult because it's a sport to its own. Let's say an endurance sport, which would be like a marathon runner who's for 2 hours running under at times severe conditions with the heat. But you know, the disadvantage the pilots have is that they have a series of clothing which does not help them very much in the performance in very extreme heat. Of course, because they're like for fire purposes, they have their overalls, they have the balaclava, they have the crash helmet, gloves, so it's not that easy. It's very demanding.
Of course, so far we're just talking about drivers and the kind of stress they're submitted to, but also the mechanics really have to face a very tough job in the condition of the Malaysian Grand Prix. So one of the aspects I suspect is most care about is proper nutrition and hydration. How does it actually unfold? How does it happen?
Well, usually you would have like 3 phases of hydration. One you do like pre-race, which is, you know, getting to the race where you already have an adequate amount of liquids in you. Then you have the one during the race. In the cars, they have a reservoir of about 1.5 liters with mineral salts and sugars. And usually it's like about 200 cc's every about like 10-15 minutes. Of course, it varies from pilot to pilot, to arrive around 1 liter of liquids introduced per hour. And then, of course, it is very important to hydrate after the race, and that is important also with the right mineral salts, so they can recuperate faster.
So we're now in the Ferrari gym, and you see some of the gear which are normally used also by team members. So what kind of exercise training would you suggest specifically for this kind of condition?
Well, I must say that Ferrari has been a precursor of keeping the members in good shape. So it's a project which goes back many years. And of course, we try to give them all the support to keep them in the best shape possible. We treat them as athletes, even if they're not always athletes, because you must also always keep in mind that they're mechanics, so that they're working the whole time on the car, on the track, here at home. But they follow a workout program which helps them keep them in shape, especially working a lot on the aerobic part and on the low back injuries to prevent them.